I want to give you guys an update on the real estate market and on why most people cannot afford a home right now. And I want to give you at least a general guideline on when you might actually be able to. Because I know real estate feels pretty weird right now. On one hand, we have a population that can't afford homes, and on the other hand, we have prices that refuse to go down. And based on the laws of supply and demand, these seem contradictory to each other. So what the is going on? Well, I think I've put the pieces together and I want to share that with you in this video. Hey everyone, my name is Derek and I got my degree in finance, so you don't have to. I've also held my real estate license in the state of California since I was 21 years old. So with that said, let's get right into the video. The median home price in the entire United States reached an all-time high in Q4 of 2022 with an astonishing price tag of $479,500. So for the entirety of the United States, for the first time in history, the median home price was nearly $500,000. That in itself is crazy, and it would be crazy even if people could afford it. But people can't. It's estimated that a whopping 73% of the US population cannot afford the average home price. Let me know in the comments if that is you. And honestly, there's no shame in that because homes right now are just not affordable. But why? If 73% of the population cannot afford the average home, wouldn't the average price fall? Isn't that what supply and demand is based on? Well, yes, and it still technically is based on that. And that is because supply is low, even though it shouldn't be. And we really have to look at that supply side of things to start piecing together why the average American can just not afford a home right now. So let's do just that. In a normal market, demand is low and prices fall until demand equals supply. But in this market, demand is low for the average priced home, but demand is not low for homes. Let me rephrase that. People want to buy homes, but 73% cannot afford the average home price. And it's estimated that 49%, let's just call it what it is, basically half of all households cannot afford a $250,000 home. That is more than $200,000 below the median home price. And half of American households cannot afford that. And notice how I said households and not people? That data is taking into account dual incomes. And guess what that scenario does to home prices? Well, you have a feeding frenzy in the majority of the country trying to buy homes under $250,000. That means that in that submarket, demand actually outpaces supply, which means that prices will rise in the lower portion of the market as the majority of the country competes in this small submarket space. And the next obvious question, that's all fine and dandy, but wouldn't more expensive houses come down in price since there are less people competing for those homes above $250,000 and definitely above the median price of $479,000? Yes, technically it should, but it's not happening. Why? Well, a lot of homes above the average home price are held by people who bought them years ago. And guess what that means? These people have sub 3% mortgages. And usually, unless we are talking about retirees downsizing, the natural progression of above average income earners is to move upmarket in housing, buying nicer or larger homes as they progress through their career. But in this market, they can't. If they sell, their new mortgage will be more than double their old mortgage. And not only that, but all houses have gone up significantly in price, which means if these people sell, they are most likely to be able to afford less house, not more house, when you take into account higher mortgages and higher home prices. And don't even get me started on throwing inflation on top of all of that. So what happens? These people in this subset of the market sit comfortably in their homes with a sub 3% mortgage. And those that do list their homes list them at extremely high prices because that is the only thing that they are comfortable leaving their low mortgage for. So while supply and demand does stand true here, it is convoluted in this market, mostly for two reasons. One, not enough starter homes have been built. And two, more importantly, because of the rapid and drastic increase in interest rates. And that's on top of high inflation and high home prices. So when it comes to you being able to afford to buy a home, I think a few things need to happen first. The first is that inflation needs to come down and stay down. Because until then, the Fed will continue its fight against inflation at the expense of interest rate affordability. And next, recession either needs to not happen or it needs to come and pass. Because not only do interest rates need to go down, but you and I need to have jobs to be able to afford homes in the first place. And lastly, a boom in the housing sector, primarily in starter homes, needs to happen because supply shortages need to be overcome for prices in the entire market to come down. And yeah, there is also one other big piece to the puzzle. And that's Wall Street. Wall Street has and continues to buy up homes. This adds to the shortages of homes and increases average rent because those homes that would otherwise be sold or rented come off market, which honestly lowers affordability in general because people who would otherwise be able to save now have to spend more money on their rent. This lowers people's ability to save in the first place for a down payment. So that also needs to be taken care of either through legislation or simply through good old free market economics, which I believe would happen if supply catches up with demand in the starter home market, which would basically make it less profitable for investment firms to hold assets as they become less scarce. So in summary, you want to buy a house and you can't afford one right now? This is what needs to happen for that to change. Interest rates need to come down, and you need to have a job. So recession either needs to happen and pass or not happen at all. And supply shortages need to be overcome, so builders need to build. And on another note, even this is hampered by inflation and supply chain issues, because it costs builders more to build if materials cost more for them to buy. But that is topic for another video. Anyways, I digress. Lastly, Wall Street needs to be addressed. But I think this is a self-solving problem if supply in the starter home market increases. Now, do I have an actual time frame for this? Well, I don't have a magic 8-ball, but inflation does look like it's headed in the right direction, which is down. So if that holds, hopefully 2023 will be the end to federal rate hikes. And hopefully in 2024, we will see a reversal in the Fed's policy. That is truly what needs to happen to get the party started and the ball rolling. Because once inflation comes down and interest rates also come down, builders will not only be able to build cheaper, but will have cheaper construction loans to do so. And you will also have cheaper loans. And so will upmarket owners who want to sell but don't because they're holding on to those juicy sub 3% mortgages. That was a lot of information, all connected and all related to each other and all influencing each other. So I hope I did a decent job presenting it in a way that was understandable to you. And on top of that, I hope this video was informative and enlightening, and hopefully it gave you a little bit of faith that one day, maybe you can afford a home for yourself if you haven't been able to do so already. As always, my name is Derek. I love this stuff and I love sharing it with you guys. And I got my degree in finance, so you don't have to. If you like personal finance and topics like this, then I think you'd love the channel because it's all that we do here. So feel free to subscribe if you haven't already and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss the next video. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.